You might remember Katelyn Bourgoin from our previous video. She's an accomplished entrepreneur and marketing strategist behind Customer Camp. She's collaborated with Fortune 100 companies, been featured in major media outlets like Forbes, and grown a newsletter to over 63,000 subscribers. In our previous video, Katelyn received coaching from Kyle Adams, a creator growth manager here at Kit, who has worked with some of the biggest names in the newsletter space, helping creators turn casual readers into devoted superfans. If you're new to this series, you're in for something special. We're bringing you a rare behind the scenes conversation that most creators don't get to witness, but absolutely need to. Katelyn is using a strategy that we like to call the creator flywheel to dramatically increase her newsletter growth and monetization. In the last episode, she broke down her plan in detail. And since then, Katelyn and her team implemented the strategy in Kit, ran it for a few days, and now Katelyn and Kyle are backed to review the initial results. This time, Kyle dives into her visual automations and sequences, analyzing what worked, what didn't, and how she can make it even better. First up, what you're about to see is part of Katelyn's automation to segment her audience so she can effectively promote the products most likely to convert and ultimately increase revenue. In this session, Kyle shares practical tips to help optimize her setup so that it's easier for her to track analytics, modify or add new elements, and overall just streamline the automations.
There have been people going through it, which is a great thing to see. And so let's dive in a little bit. Of course, you've got these, you can either enter through a tag or this form. I'm curious, where is this coming from with a tag?
So we have a number of different spots where people can sign up for the newsletter. So what I think is happening is anybody who's coming in not from our main form would be getting that tag and then being entered into this.
So you can set up, probably the setup here is that there's a rule and there's a bunch of different forms that are pointing to this tag specifically so that you don't have to have them all here in the automation, which is a great tip to circumvent the limitation of 5 forms being the entry point. So you can expand beyond five forms by just having a single tag. Okay, so they're in an active workflow and then they go into this welcome sequence email 1. So let's take a look at this real quick and see what's going on here. I'm curious, as far as this email goes, what are you looking for in terms of the flywheel in this email specifically?
So this is really the first point in the flywheel where our goal is to segment the audiences based on their interests. So we tease that we have a special welcome gift coming for them, and we want to get them to answer this question via the poll. And depending on their answer, they're going to get put into a different sequence. So people who are focused on identifying their best fit buyers, they're going to get a special welcome gift relevant to that and 2 follow-up emails relevant to that. And people that are interested in boosting conversions will get a special welcome gift that's relevant to that, and then 2 different welcome emails. The goal is just to create a really personalized welcome sequence based on their priorities, and then also to introduce the products that we have that are relevant to them based on those priorities.
So this poll itself, when somebody clicks this, you're tagging them so that you can do that specific personalization later on.
That's right.
Before we hopped on this call, you were mentioning that you'd really like to see how this poll is performing specifically. And you can do that inside of the reports for this specific sequence. So if we go into reports, we'll see the sequence, we'll see this email in the sequence. If there were multiple emails, we could go into each one. And here we can see open rates, click rates, etc. And then you can also see the poll results here at the bottom. Currently, most people, it looks like, are going towards boosting conversions over identifying best fit buyers. Okay, so just to walk through this and make sure, I think that might be helpful first. And instead of going through each individual email, let's kind of walk through the sequence. So they're going to get the first email, and these have been set up as, it looks like, individual sequences. That way, people can be moved to where you want them to be after they get that email. So this is a way of segmenting them. They get this first email, they make a choice. A day later, you're looking for these tags.
And so there's a lot of moving pieces in this automation, so let's break down how each piece works. Katelyn is using a poll in her first email to learn more about what her subscribers are most interested. Once a subscriber clicks on an answer to a poll, a tag is added to their account, which then sends them down the relevant visual automation. And if the subscriber doesn't click on anything, it'll default to sending them towards the product that typically sells the best. Now that you've seen how Katelyn is segmenting her audience to boost sales, it's important to remember that this is just the beginning. Once a system is up and running, saying continuous adjustments are crucial for maximizing revenue and growth. In the next section, we'll cover 2 key setups that many creators overlook that help optimize automations more effectively and efficiently.
I'm curious on this path of identifying best fit buyers. These email 2, 3, 4 could potentially be one sequence rather than multiple sequences spaced out with the day delay. I was just curious if that was like a strategic decision or just it helps kind of feel like you understand the flow and that kind of thing.
I mean, my teammate, she's always managed the sequences. Would there be benefits to doing it this way versus just having everything set up with the delays in the sequence itself as opposed to the automation?
The only benefit I can think of is that you can see things at a high level pretty quickly. So here in the automation, you can see how many people have completed it, etc. And then if you were to look at this on the sequences page, you can see for each individual sequence how things been performing pretty quickly instead of going in there and then clicking on reports. So that might be the logic here, but just wanted to check on that because this could be one sequence if you wanted it to be, or it could be these multiple sequences spaced out.
And I mean, perhaps, moving it all into one sequence makes more sense because wouldn't that then show you a better indication as to how people are moving through it versus having them in individual reports?
It would, because inside of the sequence, you see both and I'll show this real fast. If we go to reports, you'll see both the overall, which this email hasn't gone out yet since this automation just started, but you'll see the overall performance, so the open rate of the individual emails, but also cumulative performance over on the left side. So you'd see overall, what are we averaging here as far as people opening and clicking? And then on the right side, you get a little bit more granular.
Gotcha. Okay. So then the way we have it right now, we'll have those somewhat siloed, which is probably not ideal.
Correct.
Okay. So this is a good change for us to go and make.
I would recommend putting them together just because you have this report where you see that cumulative average. Otherwise, anytime somebody opens this email, it's going to be part of the cumulative number. So they'll just be the same number. But if you have them all in one, completely understand why you did that at the beginning of the automation, because at the beginning of the automation, you are wanting to segment them out based on a tag. But when it comes to sequences where they could all be in one place, I would definitely recommend having them all together for that.
Awesome. That's a change we'll make for sure.
So just curious if there's any questions around that aspect of how you set things up.
One thing that I am interested in talking through is making sure that now that we've created these sequence, this kind of like different experience, how do we monitor its performance at a higher level? So we talked about moving these individual sequences into one so we can see the report, but I'm talking more about knowing that this sequence, X% of people that go through it are making purchases, or X% of people that go through it end up actually making a referral. I want to be able to make sure we're tracking that all. Is there anything else we need to do so we can take advantage of Kit's Insights dashboard?
So Insights will let you track things based on tags. And so you can see the performance, if you're wanting to look at performance indicators, you can look at the journey that someone's taking through that purchasing experience based on the tags that you're using. They go sign up to the welcome sequence, for example, and then they make a purchase, or maybe they make a referral. You can see what percentage of people are going from welcome sequence to referral, or welcome sequence to purchase and to referral, those kinds of things. You can see that flow. And then, of course, that can help you kind of monitor.
Personalizing which emails are sent to who is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the power of automations. Katelyn also uses personalization in her call to actions to sell even more to her subscribers, even if they've already made a purchase.
Are there tags being added or anything that's happening on the back end? Are you aware of that?
If they made a purchase, they would get the tags associated with each product. And I believe also if they recommended or referred the newsletter to a friend, there's rewards at different tiers, and the first referral they make gets a reward. So they would then get a tag when they do that. I think the next one is for 3 referrals. So any of those actions that we have as the goals of this sequence, they'd be getting tagged in the back end as well.
If they purchase during this flow, do you want them to still continue getting these emails, or should they be moved on?
They would continue to get them because they're really valuable whether or not you purchase. We're really soft selling our digital products. We don't aggressively promote them because our goal is really just to create a really banger first impression. If it happens to be the right time for them to want to buy one of those products, awesome. But I still think that the sequence of emails is valuable and will create that good first impression. So we're still sending them the sequence. And in that regular newsletter, in quotes, we're promoting our own products. And so if they buy one of the products, rather than promoting that product to them, we're using the conditional logic to say, show them this product. So if they already have a tag, let's say they bought Wallet Opening Words, then they're going to not see the promotion for that. And instead, they're going to see a promotion for our Clarity Call cheat sheets. So we did set that up.
I know that part was short, but this is one of the most impactful conversations that you can take away. Katelyn's emails effectively change their content based on if a subscriber has made a purchase or not. It wouldn't make sense to keep promoting a product to someone who's already purchased it. However, it would also be a missed opportunity to stop sending valuable content to a great customer just because they've made a purchase. By using liquid tags, Katelyn can change the call to action, or CTA, based on the subscriber's actions. If they've already bought one product, she can promote a different one. And if they've already purchased both, she encourages her subscribers to refer her newsletters to others in exchange for bonus gifts and rewards. And speaking of getting your subscribers to refer more people to your newsletter, Katelyn had a question for Kyle that many creators struggle with. When is the right time to ask for a referral?
Is there any other pieces to this flywheel that are set up in Kit, or anything else you want to look over in this automation specifically?
Maybe looking at the final email where we do use some conditional logic, and we also are promoting our referral program, just getting your thoughts on how we've approached this one.
So this is a great use of our conditional logic and showing that if the tag is all buyers, so if they've purchased, you're showing them specifically this call to action. So you're looking for the Clarity Call cheat sheets. Otherwise, you're showing them a promotion for use Wallet Opening Words to boost your conversions, grab your copywriting playbook, which is great. And then that ends the personalization.
So here's where we promote our own referral program here. And we kind of added that gift, walk them through what the prizes are. You click on that, you would then see what the prizes are, a little description of each of them, and you would have the option to send this to friends via social or via an email, which we've pre-drafted. So in your experience of people that are using a referral program to grow, what are your thoughts on this initial kind of insertion of it and how we're approaching it?
I think this is a great time to do that. You've already sent them a few emails. I think one mistake I see people make is in the first email or something, they're trying to get people to refer their newsletter, and that's just not a great time to do that. You've built up some goodwill with them at this point. You've sent them a bunch of value, as you've mentioned, and now you're saying, hey, I'd love for you to share this with people, and I'll give you more on top of that. So I think that's a great time to leverage asking them for this. It's a smart way to do it. Also, just want to mention that I love the idea of a mystery gift. I think that's a fantastic inclusion here because there's already incentive to share. You've shared a lot of value, and the mystery gift just adds a little bit of suspense to that.
And it's fun because the mystery gift, what it is it's actually first referral somebody makes. We make a $1 donation to Shade, which is an animal shelter here in Nova Scotia. But then we wrote an issue on something called motivating uncertainty effect, which is when people are presented with uncertain rewards, it's actually more motivating sometimes than knowing what you're going to get because of the mystery. So they're, getting a feel good that we're making a donation in their honor. And they're also learning a tip that they can then apply to their own promotions by kind of mirroring what we've done in creating mystery gifts. So I hope that people will like that one.
Katelyn has chosen the ideal moment to make an ask for her subscribers. And it's not really about timing. It's about striking the right balance between delivering value and asking for something. Research shows that the ideal time to ask is when you've offered at least a 3-to-1 value to ask ratio, which tends to be the sweet spot for engaging subscribers. For instance, on Instagram, you'll usually scroll through 3 to 4 posts before you encounter an ad. Following this principle, Katelyn sends 3 value-packed emails before asking subscribers to make a purchase or referral. If you want to see the next episode in Katelyn's journey, you can watch it right here. And if you don't see anything, it's not quite out yet, so you should subscribe. In the meantime, check out Jay Klaus's flywheel right here, which helped him 7x his newsletter for even more inspiration. We'll see you there or over there.